Hi, everybody. This is AJ speaking. We are almost at the end of January 2025. Today, I want to discuss with you latest trends in China's new energy vehicle market. The new energy vehicle market includes electric vehicle, all kinds of hybrids, hybrid electric vehicle, PHEV, so plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and also EVs, so extended range electric vehicles. So on this slide, you can see the trailing 12 weeks sales of all of the main NEV brands in China. For example, Tesla sold over the last 12 weeks 185,400 vehicles. These are registration numbers, so these are real sales for each brand, so not just deliveries to dealerships. The data I'm using is as of end of the sorry, the data goes all the way to the week ending in the 19th of January 2025. And you can see that most brands saw over recent weeks sort of a pullback. BYD came down from well over a million vehicle to 947,000 vehicles. Tesla came down, LiAuto came down, Leapmotor, which saw a significant sales increase over the last couple of months, came down. Aito, which is controlled by Huawei, also came down. And so basically everybody came down or sort of traded sideways, and the reason is a very simple one. It's a seasonal factor. End of December, there's always a huge sales push in China, always very strong weeks. But then as we go into the final week of December, often sales start weakening amongst many players. And then in the first week of January, we see a significant drop off. So that would be that week here, the week ending in 5th of January. And then typically the first couple of weeks in January are weak. And then every year it depends on when Lunar New Year takes place. Lunar New Year is not every year on the same date, not even the same month, so it's moving around, and that has a huge impact in China because Lunar New Year is by far the biggest holiday in China. Lots of Chinese go on vacation, they travel, and typically culturally people are not buying a lot of cars during that period. So plus there's the winter effect. A lot of parts of China get really cold in the wintertime, and people simply buy fewer cars when it's cold. This is also a phenomenon that is observable in the North American or European markets. So with that out of the way, so before we dive into the next slide, let's just observe the key observation. So we already noted that there's a broad sales decrease for seasonal reasons, as discussed, but there is a significant outlier, Xpeng. So Xpeng has been on a quite a growth trajectory for several months. The primary driver of this is the highly successful launch of the Mona. The Mona is a vehicle that is comparable to the Tesla Model 3, so it's a sedan, and um, this is, and we dive into this in more detail in a bit. And this is doing exceptionally well on the Chinese market. The other outlier that we see is also Xiaomi. Xiaomi's SU7. So currently Xiaomi sells only one vehicle, the SU7, which is also a vehicle that falls into the Tesla Model 3 category. Has also done phenomenally well and keeps currently selling sideways. This is also quite strong result given the current seasonality that we just discussed. And then lastly, before we move on, when you look at NIO, so NIO sales comprise sales of the NIO brand, and this chart is all about brands. The NIO brand, that's why I put here excluding Onvo, and then you have the Onvo brand. So NIO's total sales comprise these two brands, and Onvo. And because this is a 12 weeks chart, a rolling 12-week sales number, we don't have a very long time series for Onvo yet, because Onvo launched vehicle sales only from late 3Q. So we don't have a ton of data to go by, but as we see in a second, the Onvo brand launch isn't doing exceptionally well. And when you look at the NIO brand sales trends, it looks highly likely that the Onvo brand is significantly cannibalizing the NIO brand. So this is really bad news for NIO, and I think this is also why the share price is not really moving in the direction NIO fans hope for. So if we now move to the next slide, here on this slide you see the same exact 11 brands that we looked at before. These are the exact same numbers, the trailing 12 months weekly total sales that we saw on this number. For example, if you look at BYD, 947,500 vehicles. This is this number up here. And so this is the total for the 12 weeks. And now we break down the last 12 weeks. This is the most recent week ending on January 19th. And these are all the other prior weeks. And here you see the weekly sales, and just to explain the color coding. So this color coding over here is relative to all the other brands, while horizontally across, the color coding is relative to that brand's weekly sales. So for that reason, you see that the biggest bar in here for BYD is that one, and is comparably large to, let's say, that one, even though this is just 10% roughly of the sales of, because this is relative to that brand. It's just to explain how this color coding works, because it's important. And then the second row under each sales bar, it's just a ranking. And green is basically good, and red is not so good. And you can see that 7 weeks ago, the BYD hit its peak week over the last 12 weeks. And the reason why I do it on a 12 weeks basis is because there's a lot of quarterly considerations in automakers that they try to sell as many vehicles within a quarter that are produced in that quarter to minimize capital consumption, which is really important in the auto industry. And that's why it makes sense to always look at sales on a 12, or there's an argument for 13 weeks, but it's a different discussion. And then to see, and then if you want to see how sales are trending, it's always good to look at how the weekly performance is moving. But as I said before, there's significant seasonality at this time of the year, and this is exactly what you see in these ranking numbers. So if you look at the top three, BYD, Tesla, and LiAuto, they all significantly sold off in the first week of January, ending 5th of January. And this was the worst week over the last 12 weeks. And sorry, the top four all exact same pattern, bounced the week after, rank 11 improved further. So a highly consistent pattern is no accident. And we saw relatively similar behavior in some of the other brands. Aito, Huawei is a bit of an outlier, because this brand, as you saw on this chart, has gone down for many months. Something is clearly not working with the current lineup. And then Deepal is owned by Changan. Changan is one of the older, or let's call it the Chinese legacy automakers. It's their NAV brand, their primary NAV brand, has also a very similar pattern. So we can clearly see the seasonality here. But the interesting thing is there are two significant outliers. One is Xpeng. They are doing quite well. So over the last 12 weeks, the third week of the year, which is like the 10th best weeks, so near the bottom of most brands, is actually number 2 best week for Xpeng. So and as I said before, the Mona is selling exceptionally well, and there's an upcoming research report where I dive deeper into Xpeng's product portfolio, where this will become crystal clear. So this is a clear outlier. And then the second clear outlier is Xiaomi. So Xiaomi's current week is number 6 best week over the last 12 weeks, which is also, as you can see on all the other brands, is also an outlier. But then people might say, hey, Aito, why are you not talking about Onvo? Because Onvo also looks really good. The problem why I don't include them in the Xiaomi and Xpeng outperformance bucket is because we have, first of all, a relatively short time series. So all these weeks were kind of ramp up weeks. We know there were some production issues. so because these weeks, due to ramp and production issues, were artificially depressed, we don't really know whether this current week ranked number 5 is a good number. I'd argue this is significantly overstated because these numbers were depressed for the factors I just mentioned. So that's why I don't think it makes sense to put them in the same bucket as Xpeng and Xiaomi. And so then before we close this video, my expectation for next week is that sales will actually come down across the board because this year's Lunar New Year takes place on the 29th of January. So technically, this would be after the cutoff of the next reporting week. The next reported week ends on January 26th, but Chinese already basically going on vacation, traveling to family. A company is already winding down in preparation of that week. So it's a Lunar New Year. Today's the 22nd of January is already ongoing in China, and that's why I expect these sales to come down pretty much across the board. So that's it for today. See you in the next one. Bye.